I'm here to tell you about the Hein family conservation easement. If you know Latah Creek, also known as Hangman Creek, the site of the hanging is the monument on Kentuck Trails Roads. The land around it and for 300 acres downstream was protected several years ago with Paul Bryant and Carolyn Sayre in a conservation easement that limited development on 98% of their property. Well, in the year 2000, Betsy Jewett and Heather Bateman and I went and visited the landowner upstream. This is how long things take. And they said, you know, we have this land that's been in the family for a long time. It has a half a mile of Latah Creek through it. We farm the land up on the bluff. That's important income. But that wildlife habitat down on the bottom, that's been in the family since the homesteading days. We'd really like to see, they call it the Creek Place, protected forever. They'd had plenty of offers over time from people who wanted to break it up into pieces. Could have been a dozen houses on the property or more, depending on rezones. But they said, we want this land to stay in the family. We want it to stay as wildlife habitat and working farmlands. We want to have a place for the Hein family to gather. So they reserved a 1-acre home site outside of the stream corridors and did a conservation easement land, with Inland Northwest Land Trust. I sort of fast forwarded through 13 years of back and forth and what would it look like, and like many families, it took some time to decide how they were going to move forward and what would happen to their lands. But we stayed in touch over that time, and when the stars aligned for the Hein family, the Land Trust, we had our pictures from our field trip in 2000. We'd been on the property a few more times. So this 142 acres has a half mile of Latah Creek running through it. I have pictures posted up on the wall that I hope you'll come and look at later on. It has basalt canyons, cottonwood galleries, and streams that come into Latah Creek there. And it adjoins the Bryant Conservation Easement. And it's at one end of a 10-mile-long conservation corridor that we hope to protect the best parts of over the next 10 years. We have 3 conservation easements in that stretch, and we're working with the other 8 or 10 landowners to see what more we can do to keep connecting the dots and protecting the best habitat. Mrs. Hein moved to Seattle this year, so she couldn't be here today, but she asked me to thank all of you for making the Land Trust possible, because it's made it possible for her to keep the land intact and keep it whole. And they're going to keep it in their family and know that the Land Trust ensures that no matter what, it's not going to be what they dreaded, which was 142 1-acre lots someday. So if we could clap loud enough for them to hear in Seattle for the Hein family.